Hey YouTube, how's it going? Errol here, the comic chief. Brian Michael Bendis is probably one of Marvel's greatest writers, and I was kind of shocked to see him leave to go to DC Comics. But when I found out that he was going to write Superman in both Superman and Action Comics, I was kind of stoked. The last time that I was really excited and into Superman was when Jim Lee was attached, and that was a long time ago. What was it? The early 2000s? So when I saw Bendis, Reeves, and Sinclair's name attached to the Man of Steel miniseries, I knew that it was a must get. I mean, look at the cover art. It's beautiful. What better way than to have the Justice League having Kal-El's back? So the issue opens up on Krypton many years ago, and at first I rolled my eyes because I thought they were going to be going back to telling Superman's origin story for the 1 millionth time. And it did open up on Krypton, but instead it opened up with a monster, a nemesis, or some bad guy with one red eye and one blue eye, talking about cleansing the world of Krypton. That was it. Then we cut to Metropolis, present day, and immediately we see villains, Moth and Firefly, arguing about a job gone wrong. And we immediately see Superman come to save the day by dragging both of them out of the apartment building that they were in, and I assume bringing them to the nearest police station. So Superman's on a nightly patrol of Metropolis, and he's listening high above the sky, above the streets of this busy city. 1 minute, things are peaceful. He's listening to a woman singing, I think. And then the next minute, he hears screams. So these panels of Superman doing what Superman does, they're my favorite already. It's something I really enjoyed about Smallville, the TV show. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comment section below. I felt the later seasons were great because they were really good at showing how important the city of Metropolis was to Superman. And the screams that Superman heard, like in him rushing to them, that was great. So he's attracted to a burning building, and from his narration, we come to find out that there's been a string of burning buildings and arsons happening in the city, and he had no clue as to who was behind it. So after he saves women, children, and puppies from the fire and puts the fire out, he scans around the structure looking for clues as to what set off the fire or fires. And however, he drifts off while he's using his X-ray vision, and we can see or hear his son John calling out his name. And when I say hear, is the narration. So as he is daydreaming, he is interrupted by a firefighter. She's a new deputy fire chief from Coast City, and her name is Melody Moore. Could this be a new love interest for the Man of Steel? I don't know. We cut back to a flashback on Krypton with the same unknown character, the red eye, the blue eye, from the first page, battling primitive beasts. Finally, we learn that his name is Rogol Zar. He meets with a member of a circle from the Green Lantern Corps, and that person tells him that his request in regard to Krypton was denied. In this dialogue, we learn that he was a great fighter and a person who sacrificed much for the galaxy, and that whatever scheme he had to cleanse Krypton was denied. And that was because he had poor judgments in the past, and maybe because his judgments were clouded with personal history. In a nutshell, the Green Lantern said Krypton must be left alone to rise and fall on its own with no interference. So what that request was, we're not exactly sure, and we just cut into this at this point of the request. Back to Metropolis, we finally see that we see Clark Kent, and he's sitting alone at his desk at the Daily Planet. We see familiar friends, Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, and they're talking to him about the arsons. And then we see him staring at a picture of Lois and John on his desk, and he drifts off to a flashback. And it takes us to all three of them at their apartment, and John Kent's wearing the red cape and the famous House of L logo. It's like Superman's top. The issue ends on a cliffhanger with a bright white light interrupting their seemingly quiet night. So immediately, I was hooked. I was hooked after reading this first issue, and I was hooked to the point where I'm eager to find out more. And I think this is a perfect way for Bendis to get his feet wet and give us a feel for what we can expect of him in both Action Comics and Superman. We got a glimpse of a potential new baddie, Rogol Zar, and he obviously has some hatred for Krypton and its people. And there's an unknown arson in the present day Metropolis, and there's flashbacks that indicate that something bad happened to Lois Lane and Clark's son John. So let me know in the comment section below, YouTube, if you've read this miniseries, and let me know what you think of it. What do you think of this recap? What do you think of the story? What do you think about Brian Michael Bendis coming to DC? Thank you, YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is Errol, the Comic Chief, going offline.